Take 11. Is your life kinda complicated? Welcome to One Take, the podcast designed to seek wisdom to live simple, healthy, and happy. We'll get there one take at a time. I'm your host, Jasmine Thomas. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Take 11 of One Take, the podcast. I am your host, Jasmine Thomas, and I am really happy that you're joining me today. Today, I share with you a great conversation that I had with a woman that does it all. And I'm going to tell you more about her in a second because as I realize that as I speak with the guests on the show about what they're doing to finding balance between pursuing successful careers, between taking care of the family, seeing friends, doing it all, I am finding a common answer. And this is an answer that I am quite surprised because I think I was looking for a different answer. And the answer is that there is really no balance. And you know what, guys? That's really not a bad thing. And you're going to hear why. My featured guest today is Kelly Roach. She is a former Philadelphia Eagles cheerleader, but she now runs her own business. She is a wife and the mother of a beautiful 2-year-old girl. Kelly worked really hard and quickly moved up while she worked at a Fortune 500 company. But with the pursuit of success also came the trade-offs. When she realized that she was jeopardizing her health to be the best at her job, she decided that it was time to reevaluate, to change routes. And then she became an entrepreneur. Today, Kelly describes herself as an unstoppable woman. She admits that it hasn't been an easy journey, but the hard work has paid off. If you need inspiration today to find your why, to find your path, and to make your dreams happen, this is a conversation that you do not want to miss, guys. But before I jump in, I want to remind you that you can subscribe to this podcast to have every single new episode delivered directly to your iTunes podcast app if you use iTunes or whichever podcast player you use. Or you can also have it delivered to your inbox and listen to it as an audio file. All you need to do is go to my website, www.yasminthomas.com, YEZMINTHOMAS.com, and you'll see on the right the options to subscribe. And it wouldn't be a bad idea if you want to subscribe to receive my blog posts because those are not delivered as a podcast. Those are also articles that I write that you can also receive if you sign up to receive my updates. So let's get started. All right, everyone. Today, I have somebody on the show that's just unstoppable. Kelly Roach, welcome today to One Take. I am so honored to have you on.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. I am pumped up to be here with you.
Amazing, because that's what we need. That's exactly what we need. Energy like you, the message that you have to share. My audience is just digging it. So let's start by telling everyone, Kelly, how do you get started and how do you end up to where you are right now?
Sure, definitely. Well, when I graduated from college, I joined a Fortune 500 company, and I really quickly learned that sales was the easiest, fastest way to turn every no that you get in life into a yes. And I never set out to be a salesperson, but it's kind of where I landed. I wanted to get myself in a position where I could kind of take control of my financial circumstances. I came from a family that struggled a lot with money, and so I didn't want to continue that cycle in my life. And I very quickly was able to get promoted 7 times in 8 years. So I moved up through the company. I was managing 17 locations and traveling all over the place and working insane hours. I love the work that I was doing. But it got to the point where I knew that in order to bring my value system together, which was freedom and fulfillment, I wanted to do work that really mattered to me and that I felt made a difference in the world. And I wanted to also be able to have that financial abundance as well. And I knew that the only way I could bring those 3 priorities together together was in starting my own business. So I really took the things that I had already been doing all day, every day for over a decade, and I started my own company, Roach Coaching. And my whole focus in my company today is helping entrepreneurs and small business owners create 6 and 7 figure leaps in their business in the fastest, most efficient way possible, while putting their family first and refusing to compromise their quality of life.
Now, let me take you back to the moment when you realized that you needed to make this transition. Was that something you were thinking about for a long time, or was this something you always knew and you were preparing to do, or did something happen that you said, no, I really need to go on my own and I need to make this happen no matter what? How was that moment for you?
It was a combination of so many different things. I mean, one of the big things for me was my background. You know, I had been a competitive cheerleader, a competitive dancer. I was an NFL cheerleader, so I was a professional. And I love fitness. I'm really passionate about health. And it got to the point where I was really compromising my health and wellness. I had no time to exercise. I was eating junk because I was on the road and I was so busy. And I really got to a place where I said, if I continue on this path that I'm on, I'm not going to be healthy enough to enjoy the success that I'm working so hard to create. And when I had that realization, I knew that there was no other choice, you know, other than doing this. And I'm the kind of person that once I commit, it's done, right? It's like you say it and it's done. No matter how many battles you have to fight and how many times you fall down, you get back up again. And so that was one of the big kind of triggers for me, was when I realized I was really compromising my health and my quality of life. And I just knew I had to take responsibility for that before something bad happened, if that makes sense.
Yeah, of course. And let me ask you about being a cheerleader. How is that? Because you guys work out really hard. You have to be focused at the game. You have to keep a smile up. It doesn't matter what's going on in the real world. At the game, you are on the top of your game performing. How challenging is it to be a professional cheerleader?
It's pretty challenging. It's a really demanding schedule, both physically and mentally. And, you know, most people don't realize that it's much more than what you see on the field. The practices are very long, super intense, really hard work. You're doing a lot of charity appearances and public appearances. There's a lot more to it than maybe what most people think. And it's definitely both mental and physical. It's a lot about poise and professionalism, speaking, presentation, all of that. So it was great. I mean, for me, I was the youngest girl on the team when I auditioned and joined. And I learned, I think, a lot of maturity and a lot of how to communicate with people at all different levels and all different walks of life. And I definitely think that discipline helped me tremendously when I joined the Fortune 500 firm that I ended up, you know, landing in for my professional working career.
Yeah, it's amazing, really amazing the work you guys do, because I've seen them practice, and it's just hours and hours. And it's not just the practice, but everything you have to do to follow up, to be in shape, to continue being able to perform at the top of your game. So yeah, I commend you for that. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Now, let's talk about your podcast, because you are a fellow podcaster. What made you decide to start Unstoppable Success Radio?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it's definitely been one of the best decisions of my life. It's probably the most fun thing that I do in my business. I'm so passionate about the show. And I did it because I wanted to be able to connect with people from around the world and serve on a higher level, make a bigger difference, and gain a lot more visibility for my business. And I would say absolutely that it's accomplished all three. So, you know, it's really just allowed me to grow the business so tremendously, because we've gained exposure to so many people that wouldn't have found out about us otherwise. And I get to learn so much from the guests that come on the show, network with other amazing podcasters like yourself.
Thank you.
So it's definitely become a very big part of what we do, for sure.
And you talk on your episodes, you really lay a foundation for people to be successful. And you are very successful yourself. How do you find the determination to get to where you are? How do you find the energy, the time, the strength? Because it can get pretty overwhelming when you're trying to do everything.
I think the the biggest thing is really being so focused on your why and remembering every single day what you're fighting for. And I do say what you're fighting for because as an entrepreneur there's so many ups and downs, there's so many obstacles, there's so many unexpected hurdles that arise that you really have to be so clear on what it is that you're working towards and the promises that you made to yourself and your family. For me, it's just creating a great life, for myself and my family, being able to travel and vacation, put my daughter in the best schools, save money, invest, start fun side projects. This year, for the first time, well, I guess it wasn't this year now, it's last year actually, but this calendar year, I guess you could say, we launched the Campaign for Humanity, which is our philanthropy efforts at Kelly Roach Coaching. So we're making donations to amazing causes around the world and really taking a leadership position as entrepreneurs, making a difference. We're working this year to raise and donate from the company $10,000 to build our first well in a developing country that doesn't have clean drinking water. So it's some of these things, but I think it's just having a plan that every day brings you back to that why, because it has to be something that you work at constantly. It's not something that you do once and then you're covered for life kind of thing.
How long has your entrepreneurial journey been?
Yeah, definitely. So I started in 2012. So it's been a great journey. It's been an awesome journey. And, I think one thing I heard from one of my mentors many years ago was that starting a business is the best personal development growth plan that you will ever have. And I think that's absolutely true.
Now, as going through that process, share with us, because there's many people that listen to this show that have that intention, that they want to do something on their own. They want to leave their full-time jobs, become independent, find the why and fight for it. What are some of those, some of the wisdom that you have gained in this journey that you can share with us? Talk about the hardest things that you have to go through and also the biggest rewards that you have achieved.
Yeah, I think one of the hardest parts of being an entrepreneur is the first couple of years. So, for me, those first few years where, really you have to invest so much more than what you get back is very difficult, especially if you're coming from a place of having been very successful and, being very comfortable at what you're doing. I think those first couple of years are extraordinarily challenging because you're giving all of your heart, all of your energy, everything that you have, and yet you're not yet seeing that return on investment. So for me, that was definitely very challenging. The patience and the fortitude and the belief to keep going, even when I didn't see the results that I wanted quite yet. And, then on the flip side, I think the most rewarding thing has been the last 2 years of seeing the opposite side of that and seeing all of that come back like a huge tidal wave because of all that work that had been put in the first few years. So I think just understanding that it's a marathon, not a sprint, and being really in it to win it for the long haul is really, really important if you want to achieve your entrepreneurial goals and dreams.
And I think that's especially important because we get bombarded with information on social media, on websites that promise you the secret to success in 30 days, sign up for my newsletter and you'll get the secret sauce to being successful in so many days. And it really doesn't work that way, right?
No, it absolutely does not. And, I find it really interesting because there's so many like business building programs out there that are like 4 weeks, 8 weeks, like 2 months. And I'm like, what is someone going to do in 2 months that is going to help them build a business of substance, right? Like building a business of substance takes years. And I think it is unfair to the aspiring entrepreneur to portray it as anything other than that. It really does them a disservice because then they think that they're failing when they're not failing. They're just doing what's necessary to lay the groundwork and the foundation, which is something that you have to put in place first before you start to see the big wins and the big success.
And thanks for saying it because, I really read a lot of articles. I'm like, come on, people, let's get real. Let's not give false hopes to someone knowing that it takes a lot more work than that. Now, Kelly, you are unstoppable. Definitely. Tell us what makes you that way and how can we use your principles to reach success in our own personal and professional lives?
Well, thank you for saying that. And, I've really built my brand around the word unstoppable. And I always like to share what that word means to me. And hopefully this will be helpful to you and your listeners. The word unstoppable to me means a person that is so driven, so passionate, so committed to themselves and them and their family that they are willing to fight through, overcome, and persist through all of the obstacles, distractions, and hurdles that life is going to throw at them on their path to success. And I think that's really important, again, because I think many times when those challenges arise, it's very tempting to give up. It's very tempting to say, why am I even doing this? Am I not cut out for this? Am I not capable of this? Was it not meant for me? Is this dream too big? And we question ourselves. And I just want people to really understand the reality of it, that like those things are just those challenges that come up are challenging you to say, how bad do you want it? Number one. And number two, they're redirecting you, they're shaping you, they're molding you into the person that you'll need to grow into to achieve the level of success that you want. So I think that's an important kind of premise to start with.
And how did you realize that this was the way you wanted to go? I understand you're looking for freedom for your family, but in terms of the business that you are doing, how do you realize that that's what you should be doing?
I knew I could make a big difference for business owners. I wanted to do work where I could see that there was just an incredible impact on people's lives and on their families. And given that I came from a family situation where we struggled so much financially, I realized and I experienced firsthand the stress and the strain and the panic that comes with financial struggle. And so I was looking for a way to eliminate that for other people. I felt like that was one of the most meaningful ways that I could outlive the life experience that I had been given, was to help other people to overcome that and not have to experience that. And so first I did that for myself. And then, I've focused and dedicated my life and my whole business on helping other people to do that. So there's a lot of meaning to me behind the work that I do beyond just building a business, beyond just doing the work. There's something deep down underneath of that I'm trying to accomplish, which is giving people peace of mind, giving them the freedom to be present and focused on their family, and allowing people to overcome some of the, I want to say bad advice or misguidance or misdirection that maybe they've been given in the past, to get real solid advice that is going to allow them to change their lives and accomplish their goals and dreams.
And I think it is so important to have that kind of mentorship, because sometimes it's hard to find support from your circle of friends, because everyone, if you're not an entrepreneur, you're working for somebody and you think that's the way that life is. And even if you're not happy or if you don't feel fully satisfied, maybe you don't have the strength to go on your own. And then there's those who are trying to do that, and they don't really have that circle that is supportive, and they really need to seek out for help and support out of that circle, because otherwise it's going to be really hard to break ground and start going on your own and really living the dream that you're always thinking about. Now, Kelly, you're a mom, you're a businesswoman, you have your clients at an international level. How do you balance life, family, business, everything?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I would say there probably is no balance, right? I think that's one of the things people feel so guilty about, is like that they're not doing a good job balancing. And, balance is really difficult when you're an entrepreneur and a parent. But what I would say is that I have always focused, and I continue to focus, on building a family first business, meaning that, my priority is my husband and my daughter. And every decision that I make in my business, the first question that I ask myself is this the right decision for my family? And that is how every decision in my business is made, including the timing of when I do my webinars, the timing of when I record my podcast, the hours that I work, the way I set up my schedule. I mean, everything is decided through the lens of my family, because everything that I'm working towards, every dream that I have includes, quality time with my family. And so if I don't work every moment of every day to preserve those relationships and be the best that I can be in that space, then it really removes the meaning and the accomplishment behind, the thing that I'm doing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. And so you're able to organize your life in, say you take your daughter to school and then you're able to fit in meetings with clients and all that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, so for me, like one of the biggest accomplishments of my life was that, when my daughter was born, I retired my husband and he is home full time with her. So she's 2.5. So she's not in school yet. And so, she's home full time. And I know that she's never had to go to daycare. And, we have a really flexible, very nice setup in terms of the way that my schedule is spaced out and they're home. And it's just, it's a good situation all around. So that's the beauty of entrepreneurship, that you can decide what you want the setup of your life to be, and you're in charge of what that looks like.
So your husband stays home with her? That's amazing. Tell me about that. How was that conversation?
Oh, he's amazing. Like, I have the best husband in the world. I'm really, really lucky. It has definitely been, probably, if you ask him, the most challenging thing he's ever done in his life. If anybody listening has a 2-year-old, that is not an easy job. But we had talked about it starting when we were dating, that it was really important to us to not put our kids in daycare. It was something that we had agreed upon very early on before we were even married. And so when the time came, given where my business was and everything that we had going on as a family, it was just kind of obviously the right decision. And it was one of the best decisions that we've ever made.
I love that you talk about that, because sometimes it's hard for dads to do that, not because of the diapers and the terrible twos, but because of what people think about them.
Yeah, absolutely. But you know what? We're in a changing culture. I think it's becoming more and more popular, and I think it's becoming more and more commonplace, for the father to be stepping up in that way. And it's an awesome thing. I mean, the bond between my daughter and my husband is incredible. And what she's learning and how quickly she's advancing and growing, it's just so obvious what a positive impact it's made on her development being with him every single day.
I can totally relate to that. When my kids were little, my husband stayed with them at home for a while. And my son was, I think, 4 months old and my daughter was 2. And it was funny because when he was walking, if he would fall or if he was hurting for something, he wouldn't reach to me. He wouldn't reach to he would reach to him. And I thought, that's incredible, the bond that they have, because every time a kid falls, they reach for mom. They don't reach for dad. And I just thought this is something that they will have forever. And there's no other way you can get this without that investment of the time with dad all the time at home. And that to me was very... it was hard for a mom to see that your son doesn't go to you first. It goes to daddy. But looking back and looking forward, I'm like, I am so happy that they had that time since they were so young to have that bonding experience together. As we prepare to wrap up, Kelly, I would like to know what inspires you. I know your family inspires you. My family is my number one priority too. But what else inspires you?
Yeah, making a difference and fulfilling my potential. So, I'm just one of those people that I do believe that we were all put here on the planet with a plan and a purpose. And I think my purpose was to help people achieve financial freedom and have the courage and confidence to follow their dreams. And so every day I'm inspired by the success stories and the results that my clients are getting. And every day I'm inspired to work very, very hard to market and grow my business, to make a bigger difference, to help more people, people to see more lives be changed. And, to me, that's all the motivation I ever need. When I see a client send me an email or post in my Facebook forum for one of my, programs, this is the first year I could afford to spend cash on my kids' Christmas gifts. Thank you so much for your coaching. Or, I see someone post, I just got my first $35,000 sale from a client, or, I crossed six figures for the first time. We doubled this year. Like, that's all you could ever ask for, in terms of motivation to keep working harder to improve yourself so that you can help people to get even better results.
And Kelly, what would you share with people who are not feeling like they're there, who may not believe they can get there? What would you tell them to encourage them?
I think that every one of us was given the dream that we have in our heart for a reason. And I believe that if you have a dream in your heart of hearts, you are intended to achieve it. You just have to believe in yourself. You just have to take action. You have to get support and get help, because no one can do it alone. And you have to put yourself in a place and in a space where you have people that are guiding you and directing you that have been there and done it, versus other people that are stuck where you are, trying to give you direction when they don't even know for themselves, right?
Exactly. It goes back to what we were talking about a little bit ago. It is, you really need to seek out for those people that are like-minded, that are reaching out for the same goals. And I think when we talk about people doing so many podcasts, I love the way that we are able to find so many topics and we are able to connect with those minds that we can pick, that we can fit those holes that we have in our own hearts or in our own minds to really get us to where we are.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's an incredible learning platform. I mean, I tell people all the time, like, we have no idea how lucky we are given that we have these tools at our fingertips for free. It's such an amazing way to learn and to connect and grow and observe, what other successful people are doing, and take those things and apply it in your own business and in your own life.
I love it. Now, Kelly, tell us about any resources you recommend, books, obviously your podcast. Tell us about your podcast more. Tell people what they can learn, how they can connect with you.
Yeah, definitely. So if you want to build a multi-six-figure plus family first business around the life that you love, definitely listening to Unstoppable Success Radio is your first step in doing that. We go live 3 days a week. It's all business growth strategy, inspiration, motivation, tools, tactics, and tips to help you go further, faster, and accomplishing your goals and dreams. So Unstoppable Success Radio, we're on like 17 different platforms now, but of course we're on iTunes and Stitcher and all that good stuff. So that's a great place to start. And besides that, for people listening, if you're one of those people that are doubling as a parent and an entrepreneur, or maybe you're working full-time and starting a business on the side, definitely go to www.automation-secrets.com and get my special report that walks you through what to automate, delegate, outsource, and delete, things that you can systematize and things that you can get in place to work for you in the business, so that if you're stretched for time, you can still keep marketing and growing without every single thing relying on you manually kind of pushing the boulder up the hill. So you can get that by going to www.automation-secrets.com.
And just so the listeners know, all the resources that you're mentioning, your podcast, your contact information, everything is going to be available on the show notes on my blog, and also along with the podcast notes. So everything, if you guys are not able to write it down because you're driving or making dinner, whatever you're doing, everything is going to be available on the blog. Don't worry about writing it down. And Kelly, I wanted to go back a little bit about what you just said, because what amazes me, it's to know people that are doing everything and they believe everything can be done. And I think your example is great. Family comes first. You can grow a business. You can live the life that you want. It is possible. We can do it.
Absolutely. And you're 100% right. It is possible. You can do it. It's not going to be an overnight success. It's not going to be a day or a week or a month of hard work. It's going to be years. But if you want it bad enough and you have that vision for your future and you believe in yourself, then you will make it happen.
Thank you so much. How can people connect with you, Kelly?
Yeah, definitely. So my Facebook business page is Kelly Roach International, and I do Facebook Lives there once a week. So I would love to connect with people there. My website is kellyroachcoaching.com. And if you want to get in touch with me via email, it's coaching@kellyroachcoaching.com.
I am so happy that we connected, Kelly. I am so happy you were on the show today. I am so inspired. I have a huge smile on my face. I feel so hopeful because we need more of these kind of conversations. I think that everyone has a story. We don't take enough time to talk about people's stories, and I am really honored that you were able to come on the show and share about your story with us.
Thank you so much. And I really appreciate you having me on the show. This is just a great conversation, and I hope it was helpful for all the listeners.
Oh, definitely. Thank you, Kelly. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this conversation. And if you did, please make sure to subscribe and to share it on social media. Tell your friends, share it on Facebook. That's how the word gets out everywhere. Help me share the wisdom of my guests with the world. And I do hope that you're feeling inspired and encouraged to invest more into serving people around us and into reaching your goals and into reaching your dreams. Don't forget to check out the show notes available on my website, www.jasminethomas.com. There's going to be links to all the items and all the resources that we mentioned in this conversation with Kelly. Also, don't forget to connect with me. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Facebook. You can find me everywhere. Just search for Jasmine Thomas and you're going to find me. And if you would like to send me an email, my email address is podcast@jasminethomas.com. And just before we go, I would like to invite you again to subscribe. And if you could do me a huge favor, to rate and review the show. If you are an iTunes user, you can do that by leaving a rating and a written review in the rating section of the iTunes podcast. Or if you're listening on Android or any other app, you can also leave me a review there. And that's all I have for you guys. I really hope that these conversations are being useful to you, that they are inspiring you, and I want you to know that I really appreciate your time and your choice. Thank you so much for supporting One Take. Till next time, remember guys, keep it simple. I'll talk to you on the next take.